Now, in Guatemala, where I had the privilege of living for 3 years, and in fact got to meet Frank LaRue there and know his courageous work, there's a volcano with a very similar name. It's actually called Pacaya, but it sounds a lot like Pacay. So when I was thinking about this, Pacaya, the volcano, is actually one of the most active volcanoes on the planet, but you can still go up it. And I went up 4 different times, and it's pretty exciting to be up there. So I'm really delighted to be at this Pacay summit, and trust it will be as active and as exciting as its Guatemala namesake. So my job today is to share with you some information about the Open Government Partnership, or OGP. This is a multilateral global effort to make governments more transparent, more effective, and more accountable, and I think provides a platform for you all to consider in terms of your larger interests in promoting access to information. OGP aims to secure concrete commitments from governments to promote transparency, to empower citizens, to fight corruption, and to harness new technologies to strengthen governance. A vital element in making OGP work, and a central outcome of its success, is citizen access to information. As Professor Berger reminds us in his welcome note to this conference, the central idea here is access to information. OGP operates on that same principle and provides a platform to help governments embrace the entire package deal, as Guy calls it, of access to information. Now, OGP is an initiative whose time has come. It's clear to me that around the world, trust in government is declining. But at the same time, the internet and social media have lowered barriers to citizen participation in democratic process. We've seen this happening around the world. Technology is transforming the ways that people access information and relate to their governments and to each other. Access to accurate information empowers citizens in making decisions about how they are governed. Open and responsive governments are, frankly, more effective. They're more efficient and they're more innovative. From improving service delivery to reducing corruption, open government efforts are helping to build larger and more successful, more prosperous nations. Openness is good for government, and I'm saying that to you today as a representative of a government. Now, open government has also been a vehicle for promoting innovation and economic growth. By liberating thousands of government data sets, many countries have built entirely new industries and saved billions of dollars by harnessing the knowledge, resources, and expertise of the private sector to help create new applications and operating systems that are changing the way government does business. So when the time comes to sell some of your ideas to the private sector, that's something to think about, that there are business opportunities in access to information as well. So let me describe briefly what OGP, the Open Government Partnership Initiative, seeks to do. It seeks to strengthen and increase the visibility of new norms around openness, around accountability, and participation in government, with leadership from a diverse coalition of countries. It seeks to showcase the leadership of both developed and developing countries, highlighting innovations and best practices with broad appeal, and facilitating the creation of opportunities for countries to learn from one another and from the non-governmental sector. OGP seeks concrete commitments that will make our governments more efficient, effective, and responsive, and that signal our individual and collective embrace of open government. And OGP seeks to empower civil society as a critical partner in the effort to hold governments accountable and to make government more efficient, effective, and responsive to citizens. OGP is overseen by a steering committee of 8 governments and 9 leading civil society organizations. In fact, I'm giving you a little bit of a preview because OGP will formally launch on September 20th at a Heads of State meeting. It's hosted by the initiative's co-chairs, governments of Brazil and the United States. And this meeting will be held in New York next week on the margins of the UN General Assembly. In 2012, the other co-chair, Brazil, will co-host the meeting in Brazil. The steering committee members are diverse. 8 governments, including Brazil, the United States. Our host nation here, South Africa, is on the steering committee. Indonesia, the Philippines, the United Kingdom, Norway, and Mexico. Those are the 8 governments. And then there are 9 civil society organizations that are playing an equally important role in setting out the scope and direction of the OGP. Now, if a nation or a society wishes for its nation to join OGP, those countries need to meet the eligibility requirements and submit a letter of intent. They need to embrace a high-level open government declaration. They need to deliver a country action plan that's developed with public consultation. And they need to commit to independent reporting on their progress as it moves forward. Now, OGP is an inclusive initiative, not an exclusive club. All countries that meet the criteria for participation and are willing to live up to the membership expectations are welcome. As I mentioned, in Africa, South Africa sits on the steering committee, but there are other members as well. Ghana, Liberia, Kenya, and Tanzania have all recently submitted letters of intent to join, and we look forward to their participation next week at the launch in New York. We would also welcome and, in fact, encourage other African nations to commit to the OGP principles and join this initiative. Collaboration between civil society and member governments is a key component of OGP. Civil society keeps governments and elected officials accountable. And civil society organizations are driving best practices and innovation, so governments have a great deal to learn from civil society. The private sector also has a role to play in OGP, and I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Google's support of the initiative, particularly their support of the OGP website. Thank you, Oriocola, if you're here, and Google. So member governments are supposed to develop concrete action plans that focus on one or more of 5 grand challenges. I love that word, grand challenges. Those are to improve public service or increase public integrity, to more effectively manage public resources, to create safe communities, or to increase corporate accountability. Those are the 5 grand challenges. And a nation's concrete commitments under any grand challenge should be flexible and allow for each country's unique circumstances. But they need to reflect the core values of open government principles. Those are transparency, citizen participation, accountability, technology, and innovation. OGP both depends on and strengthens citizen access to information. Each of us in this room has a role to play in advancing OGP and access to information. And I hope you will all return home ready to start or support OGP in your country. Now, I've got additional information about OGP, about the eligibility requirements, about the public consultative process, and other elements that I'll be happy to share with you all during this conference. Or please, you can visit the OGP online presence at opengovpartnership.org. That's opengovpartnership, one big ugly word, .org. Thank you very much.